What is up, everybody? It's your boy LP Reviews, and today we are going to be listening to the top 10 best SpongeBob episodes ever. Now, this is going to be completely based on my opinion, but y'all guys can type in your favorite SpongeBob episode in the comments. And yeah, y'all guys make sure y'all leave a like, comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if y'all want some more and better videos. So, without further ado, let's get straight on into the list. Okay, coming at number 10 is Krusty Towers. This is honestly my favorite episode in season 4. It starts with SpongeBob and Squidward walking to work and saw that Mr. Krabs turned the Krusty Krab into a hotel place. Squidward is obviously having a hard time here while SpongeBob loves it. The idea is for them to welcome the customers into a spa hotel and serve them Krabby Patties. Squidward quits and decides to give Mr. Krabs his own taste of his medicine. This is a very good concept and is one of the funniest SpongeBob episodes. I rate this a 10.8 out of 10. Coming in at number 9, we got Christmas Who. This is one of the best SpongeBob holiday specials. The episode begins with SpongeBob heading to Sandy's house for karate, but Sandy was getting ready for Christmas and decides to tell SpongeBob all about it. He lets everyone know about Santa Claus and how he gives people presents. They all gave notes to Santa of what they want and wait for the presents to come. SpongeBob and the others sing an amazing Christmas song and get ready for Santa's arrival, and we also have Squidward being the Grinch. Sadly, Santa didn't arrive yet, and everybody leaves. This makes SpongeBob very sad, and Squidward took the effort to cheer him up. He gave all of them Christmas presents and brings back the Christmas spirit. And with the cherry on top, Santa appears and laughs like he's in drugs. This episode is just so nice to watch, with a great song, funny jokes, and the general feeling. I rate this episode a 10.8 out of 10. Coming in at number 8, we have the camping episode. One of my favorite episodes in season 3. The episode begins with SpongeBob and Patrick deciding to go camping outside and have fun, and Squidward decides to join them. They eat s'mores, tell campfire stories, sing a song, and more. SpongeBob and Patrick warn Squidward about the sea bear. Squidward don't believe it, so he do all the things that attract the sea bear and ends up getting attacked. This is a very funny episode, and it always put a smile in my face. The concept of Squidward being in denial makes me giggle from time to time. I rate this episode another 10.8 out of 10. Fun episode. Coming in at number 7, we have Frankadoodle. Another one of my favorite episodes in season 2. The episode begins with a random guy drawing pictures. He loses his pencil and it sinks into Bikini Bottom. The pencil lands where SpongeBob and Patrick are, and SpongeBob and Patrick decide to use it to draw pictures. But the twist is everything they draw comes to life. Was also using it to prank Squidward. SpongeBob draws himself and calls it Doodle Bob, one of the best SpongeBob villains ever. The duo sees that Doodle Bob was pure evil and wants to bring mayhem to Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob erases him and go back home, but surprise, surprise, it's not over yet. SpongeBob and Doodle Bob has a crazy battle. SpongeBob traps Doodle Bob in the book and stops his chaos once and for all. This is a very fun episode. The concept of them having a magic pencil that brings drawings to life is genius. I rate this episode another 10.8 out of 10. Very fun one to watch. Definitely one of the best. Coming in at number 6 is Midlife Crustacean. Easily one of the funniest episodes out there. This episode begins with Mr. Krabs waking up and realizing how old he's getting. This leads to him having a midlife crisis. He comes to SpongeBob and Patrick for some advice to feel young again. They did a lot of crazy stuff until they came up with the idea of making Mr. Krabs do the panty raid. This amazing episode was unfortunately banned for the panty raid incident. I really like this episode, and it can be very relatable. I'll rate this episode a 10.8 out of 10. Very funny and sort of naughty. Coming in at number 5 is Help Wanted. The one that started it all. The first episode of the show was flawless, and it begins with them giving us the introduction of the main characters and how they will be. SpongeBob applies for a job at the Krusty Krab, but Mr. Krabs give him a task to do before he joins. He wanted SpongeBob to get a hydrodynamic spatula and use it to make Krabby Patties. The hundreds of anchovies came to the restaurant demanding for food, and while hope was lost, SpongeBob comes to save the day by making hundreds of Krabby Patties. We get this awesome montage of him making Krabby Patties, satisfying all of the customers. SpongeBob gets hired, no surprise there, and they all live happily ever after. When I first saw this episode, I thought it was the best episode I've ever seen in Nickelodeon, and thinks it has a unique flow. I rate this episode a 10.9 out of 10. Great starter episode and cartoonishly funny. Coming in at number 4 is Goons in the Moon. This was the last episode made by Steven Hilbert. Steven Hilbert, you will be missed, you comedy genius. This is the best season 11 episode and the best holiday special. The episode begins with the gang getting ready to go to the moon and experiment on rocks, and Squidward get caught up in the nonsense and end up getting lost. And surprise, surprise, Santa showed up again. They managed to get the moon far away from the Earth and ran out of fuel. They tried many attempts to push the moon closer to the Earth, but didn't manage to move it. Santa decides to help them by using his jack-in-the-box, and SpongeBob ends up whining it too much, and he ends up destroying the moon. SpongeBob came with the idea and asked Santa to spray him to become big enough to be the new moon. And yep, that's the end of it. This episode really made my day, and it's a very fun episode to watch. And I'm guessing Steven Hilbert's wish before he died is for us to enjoy this last episode he made. And what did you know? His wish came true, because I love this episode, and I'll rate this episode a 10.9 out of 10, a true SpongeBob episode. Coming in at number 3 is Chocolate with Nuts. This is the best episode in season 3. Just everything about this episode is funny. The episode begins with SpongeBob scaring the mailman and reads a newspaper about being a salesman. So they get a lot of chocolate and try to sell some. They went to multiple houses to sell chocolate, but didn't sell any yet. The chocolate guy just always make me laugh. They end up buying bags, lying about the chocolate bars to make sales, pretended to be injured to make some sales. They end up losing the money they made, and surprise, surprise, the chocolate guy wants to buy all of the chocolate. The chocolate episode is just always make me laugh every time I watch it. I'll rate this episode a 10.9 out of 10. Hilarious episode with great humor. Coming in at number 2 is Pizza Delivery, the best episode in season 1. This is the one I watched the most in season 1, and it's just so funny. The episode begins with Mr. Krabs making a pizza for SpongeBob and Squidward to deliver. At first, they try using a car, but end up losing it, and they have to walk there. And also, the hitchhiking scene has gotta be the funniest scene in the episode. And SpongeBob and Squidward end up starving because they spent days trying to deliver this pizza. And Squidward tried to eat the pizza, but SpongeBob won't let him. Then they found a rock and drove to the house. The guy won't buy the pizza because there were no drink, and then Squidward loosens up and end up defending SpongeBob. This gotta be the best Squidward moment I have ever freaking seen. The episode was creative, fun, and empathetic, which is why this is the best season 1 episode ever. I rate this episode a 10.9 out of 10. It is almost the best SpongeBob episode ever. Alright, before we get to number 1, it is time for some honorable mentions. Let's go. My Leg. This episode was just funny, creative, and it was just so good. I really enjoyed the song in this episode, which is why I have this on the leaderboard of greatest SpongeBob episodes of all time. McMadness. This is the episode where Tom Kenny really shows out his amazing voice impressions of the characters in SpongeBob. It is so beautiful, a very solid episode, and it's definitely in the leaderboard. It is in the top 20, but it couldn't make it to the top 10, but this is a neat honorable mention. Castles in the Sand. Basically the best episode in season 6. The only real good episode in season 6, while the rest was just mediocre and bad. But Sandcastles in the Sand saved season 6 from being a very bad season, because it just really has a deep feeling that makes us enjoy this a lot. Very fun episode. You should go check it out. Panthers. I know it's a crime by not adding this in the top 10, but I don't find it as good as the ultimate episodes in SpongeBob, but it's still a very good episode. It's a true classic. SpongeBob and Patrick try to paint Mr. Krabs' house, and things end up going crazy. I really like the episode. Definitely one of the best. No Weenies Allowed. This episode is just straight funny. SpongeBob trying to be a tough guy so he can make it to the Salty's platoon, but knowing that he is so unbelievably weak. But I really enjoyed this episode. It's so fun. It really has a moment that just makes me laugh so much. It's just gotta be one of the greatest episodes of all time, which is why it's in the leaderboard. And Sailor Mouth. Yes, it is so surprising that this didn't make the list, but this is one of the closest episodes to the top 10. I mean, seriously, this episode is just so funny, so good, and it's actually relatable, I gotta say. The concept of, having a curse word. Of course, they're not gonna, have them actually saying curse words, no. But they're gonna, have them potentially saying curse words, but you don't hear it. It's just dolphin noises. But still, a very neat concept of cursing. I really like this episode. It's very funny. You should definitely check it out if you haven't. All of y'all probably have seen it, so yeah. And the number 1 best SpongeBob episode is Band Geeks. The best SpongeBob episode I have ever seen in my life. Words cannot describe of how much I love this episode. The episode begins with Squidward playing his clarinet and the doctor show up. Funniest moment in season 2. Squilliam calls and asks if he has a band for the Bubble Bowl, the Bikini Bottom version of the Super Bowl. Squidward gets everyone to volunteer for the band and gives them lessons. Of course, nobody succeeds in the first time they try, but after Squidward gives up, they end up training themselves to get better, and trust me, I did not expect them to do this well. They gave out the best performance I've ever seen in cartoon history. It was a beautiful moment of SpongeBob, and it remains to be the best scene in SpongeBob history. This episode is way too good. I've never stopped rewatching this, mainly because the one scene in the end. This episode is the peak of SpongeBob, and it will always be the best SpongeBob episode. I rate this episode, this masterpiece, an 11 out of 10. A perfect episode that can make SpongeBob the best Nickelodeon show in the world. SpongeBob. SpongeBob. My favorite Nickelodeon show. Even after these terrible seasons, this show will always remain my favorite Nickelodeon, because those first 3 seasons just completely dominates cartoon history. I mean, seriously, they're easily one of the best episodes I've ever seen in a cartoon. you just gotta go watch seasons 1, 2, 3. They're so good. But the rest of the seasons, I mean, we got some bad seasons and still got some good seasons. And the 2 seasons that's closest to the golden era of SpongeBob is season 11 and season 4, in my personal opinion. I may not think these 2 seasons will be close to the golden era, but I really think they are. And honestly, one of the freaking episodes in these seasons made it to the top 10 list, showing that SpongeBob still got it. Really, this is a very, very agreeable list in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys would probably agree with this. Yeah, freaking Pizza Delivery is the second best SpongeBob episode. Help Wanted, the 5th best. Yeah, y'all wouldn't be expecting Help Wanted to be the 5th best, since it's literally the first episode of the freaking show, and it's practically a test episode. It's a pilot. But they did such a great job making it, which is why I think it's one of my favorite SpongeBob episodes. It was like literally the first episode we all watched. So yeah, all I gotta say is SpongeBob is a very amazing cartoon. Easily one of the best freaking TV shows you can ever watch. Just like if you see the first 3 seasons, you'll already think this is your favorite show because they're so funny, so good, so creative, and they're just all around a good time. Go check it out, man. Honestly, the shows that come closest to SpongeBob is Loud House, Fairly Odd Parents, and even Amazing World of Gumball. Those are the 3 shows that comes closest to SpongeBob. Oh, and don't forget about Hey Arnold. But still, SpongeBob always would be the best of the best in my personal opinion. I know many of you guys don't think SpongeBob will be close to the best cartoon, but just take a good look at the 3 seasons and see these 2 seasons alone could just make this good. And with 1 extra season, oh yeah, SpongeBob is the best show in history. It doesn't need over 10 seasons to be good. You just need 3 amazing seasons to make it the best freaking cartoon in history. We just don't have to count the rest of the other seasons. Man, I really enjoyed making this list. I hope y'all guys agree with this one.